to be very aggressive, look to take those fights and use those key aims inside of some of that smoke.
Neo also playing the Mad Maggie. I do think playing Maggie early is quite good because she typically is going to get banned around map 3, you would feel, and Legend bans is another important factor, as looks like VP have lost a player here. I don't know if that's a person off the map, whether that was an accident, but they're going to be able to get Taskmaster back onto his feet, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. But as we are playing every single map today, as we do have 10 matches, remember, Legend bans are going to get increasingly more difficult to try and build around when we get to the latter stages.
Yeah, those games 8, 9, and 10 are going to be interesting when it comes to compositions. We'll have to see if there's a little bit of a reset on some of the Legends, or if we're going to have something a little bit out of the box when we get to those latter games. Just a note there, it was VP we saw getting that respawn. It almost worked out for them. They were one of the quickest teams to actually rotate to zone, and not being able to pick up too much Evo on the way, but having to hit the respawn, they actually managed to get up to blues pretty easily. So maybe that works out. It's one of those strange quirks that actually, even though you lost a player, you had to get him back, you still got a good spot, and you managed to level up those Evos.
Yeah, VP will have that southwest side, which will be frustrating for some of the teams that want to go for a late rotation. You often see a far western rotation to try and get in behind a lot of the northern teams because they can make it very difficult to find yourself in. Still quite a lot of teams who have not moved early to zone, it is worth saying. We have seen this quite consistently on E-District throughout this tournament. Some teams are more happy to play edge because there is a lot more to do in these early games when we see E-District.
PXX taking a longer route. They're going to have to pick up some Evo on their way forward. You can see they've only managed to get up to, well, they haven't managed to get up at all when it comes to armors. Still on the thinnest of armors with the white armor. And a long way to go for them. DCG on our screen right now. Speaking of Evo, speaking of harvesters, they're finding one down by their feet as they land. So that's going to help them get a little bit closer to purple, and that's going to be the plan for them here as they move towards City Hall.
Elsewhere, a lot of fans of VK Gaming, the reigning EWC champions, in the building as well. Can they live up to expectations and get a chance to defend their title in the match point finals? They did find at least a comfortable route here through to the survival stage, but they have not looked like champions thus far. Maybe they can change that here today. Interesting
game number 1, actual end zone. The fact that E-District, we always talk about how end zones in general have a lot of playable space, and that is similar to what we're seeing in this particular end zone, but there's a lot of different layers of buildings. We're going to see a lot of cohabited buildings, a lot of noisy neighbors, shall we say, when we get towards that end game. And you can already see here VP, who had to reset early here, have already got some noisy neighbors.
This was the southwest building I was talking about. It can be a bit of a choke point. You can hold people out. That being said, because you do have multiple levels and people are playing caustics, you can kind of hold them out and you can share the building as well. And that's exactly what you're seeing at the moment. Neo get forced away a little bit as Virtus Pro. They play the height quite successfully. And now Aurora are starting to arrive to the party here. They're coming from the southwest.
This is down at the southwest, like you say. This is just outside of zone. Iyaka and Oirain separate ever so slightly from Effect. This is where you're going to see Alter really come into play. Effect is trying to be that Alter. Trying to take some angles. Trying to see if he can flush out that first frag. That's what he does best, and that Thermite is going to tick, tick, tick away. The R9 not quite connecting in the way that we're used to seeing it from Effect there, but good damage done anyway.
Neo frustrating Aurora a little bit. They are sporadically spread out. They are not making it easy for them at all, and other teams are going to be in the area. Virtus Pro starting to take a look closer towards this one as well. So Aurora just have to be careful they don't go chasing shadows.
It's actually going to be Neo who lose one here, and VP looking to overextend in third party. You can see they do have the Void Nexus down in that building, but you've got to get to it. And Prestis is going to be hoped to be dragged. He's going to get that knockdown shield working and just about manages to avoid the final bullets. VP will survive and go back to the building they were holding, but it worked out for them. They managed to pick up a KP.
Those darn knockdown shields, they always get in the way. Got to have that sensitivity high so you can spin around and make sure you deny those bullets as quickly as possible. As VP now has lost one.
Effect just took the ball. He wants to get aggressive, and I love seeing this early on here from Aurora. They don't want to let Prestis get comfortable. They don't want to let VP get an easy reset here. They want to push the advantage that they have, and even though it's a slight risk, I like the intention that's coming in. However, Oirain has gone down and been finished, so that's the one thing that's a worry. You try and be aggressive, but with so many teams in zone here, Dan, it's cost him.
Oh, Effect's going to go for an instant respawn here, though. I like this. Make sure you get the job done
beacon
right here, right now, as Effect now can utilize that Altar's Void Passage and get away and get on the other side of these buildings.
Yeah, it's a very, very busy respawn beacon already so far in the game. It's been hit twice. Dinos were also looking. We'll have a little bit of a pause here. We'll get back into the game as soon as we are ready. But Dan, a lot of action right down on that southern side to start off.
It is so funny, isn't it? These teams that...
We died in that final game, and I was just as annoyed, but hey, you'll take first place. It doesn't matter what the points tally is. We're back in the game. The game is unpaused, and we're focused on Dinos, who are involved in that little scuffle we saw in that southwest building.
Dinos will be happy to go back to where they came from. Pre-extinction is now... The zone is going to continue to move a little bit further south, but away really from the buildings that Virtus Pro and Aurora are currently hovering around. Now, this is an engagement I was talking about. Shopify Rebellion had taken down one from Zipline Mafia, but now Zipline will not use the Zipline to get away, but they will have a portal.
Yeah, the Void Nexus down. They're going to escape for now. Should be able to reset. Okay, here we go again. Effect is straight back in the building. Effect seems to have a chip on his shoulder today. I think he woke up baying for blood. He wants kills.
He's a dangerous man to play against when he is at his very best, that's for sure. And on the altar, he can manipulate the map, try and give the team an advantage here, and maybe catch Virtus Pro off guard.
I think he's just waiting for his teammates to engage, or maybe he's just looking for a peek. If someone jumps up onto that roof, the Arca on the drone is going to be able to scan and let him know exactly where Virtus Pro are. Here comes the climb. He's just going to wait for another scan, I think, before he decides whose first victim may become.
Yeah, they've just got to be careful. They're well aware of Dinos. They know there are other teams that could get involved in this fight, but they are certainly planning an attack at the moment.
That Wraith cosplay is amazing.
That keyboard's amazing as well. I'm just going to put it out there as there's the EMP as Effect now might just decide to take charge.
EMP's exchange between the two teams. Taskmaster playing that corner, watching that Void Passage, making sure that Effect cannot get that free pick. VP are holding extremely well here.
Yeah, the frustrating thing about trying to take any building off a core stick is it's stinky. It is not enjoyable, and it's very difficult to do so. And Virtus Pro are utilizing those barrels to their best ability to make this uncomfortable for Aurora and Effect in particular.
Usually just paying so much attention to your shields in those fights that when the core stick barrels are activating and it's chipping away your health, you kind of almost don't realize it. When the shields get broken, all of a sudden you've only got 50 HP or so when it comes to health, and you find yourself on your back. So you've got to be aware in the kill feed. By the way, QQ just took down one, so BKG has secured their first point of the game.
Still plenty of time for both of these teams. There's not a panic immediately. This zone is going to be very comfortable.
See a fuse ult here, maybe?
Boy, do they want it here, Aurora. And this has been isolated for quite some time. No one from the center of zone feels like they need to join this. Even Dinos have decided, you know, this isn't worth it. We'll think about the team that wins.
Here's the MP again. And Effect is looking to move in and get that first knock once more. Huge damage coming out of Effect, and it is going to be the fuse ult, the motherload from onto Prestis from Oirain that gives Aurora that first knock. They waited for those abilities to be available, but Oirain is down. It's a 2v2 inside this building.
2v2, but look how weak they are, and now Dino's starting to get involved. DJ Killer up to the top and says, maybe I'll have a little look here. We could pick up the pieces, and Aurora have to be careful.
DJ Killer causing some problems. Aurora down to 1, down to 0. VP still alive somehow, but for how long? Not very long by the looks of things, because Dinos have been waiting for their opportunity to strike.
Was it necessary? Is probably the question that both Virtus Pro and Aurora are going to be asking themselves here, especially considering like 5 minutes ago, that same thing happened where Aurora push in and then Dinos are able to come in and get a couple of knocks. Frustrating, I'm sure, for both teams involved, but Dinos will be all smiles. The new boys on LAN, they get the kills in their favor, and they'll be first in the lobby at the moment. 5 points on board, and they have the southwest side.
And let me tell you, Dinos, as you say, new to the LAN experience, new to the live event experience. I love the confidence they play with. So many teams would have watched that happen and gone, well, we are safe in zone. We don't need to get involved. But Dinos showing no fear. And you have to do that when the opportunity presents itself in these kind of lobbies. In the kill feed, though, Synetic has just got a knock onto Shopify Rebellion Zach. As we jump over to DCG now. Just outside of zone, kind of hovering in and out of zone. Lusan's going to go into the drone to see if he can spot out some of these players coming from Neo. Maybe scare him away a little bit by getting some of those scans. But the drone is destroyed, and now Neo might think about pushing.
A couple of Skynades as well, but DCG I don't think will want to force this one too much. If they can cohabit, they can kind of hold the Northwest a little bit here. So they are just going to back away for now. By the way, Dinos, after pushing that fight, they have lost their spot to Shopify Rebellion a little bit. So I know we were saying they didn't fear about pushing things, but Shopify Rebellion might have been able to capitalize about the gap that they found in the map.
Shout out Hotik, shout out the Hermit Crabs. Moving up to take away someone else's spot. Now Gen G, they might be having their game taken away from them. They're going to get slid on here as PXX will eliminate Dexter as that final player. Gen G fall out the lobby. The comp did not work this time around. Back over to Neo though, and DCG. It looks like they really do want to take this fight. And it's going to be DCG who get this first knock. So Xiao Che who gets it.
Great patience from DCG initially though. They do get the full wipe. Neo will be eliminated, but they waited for a little bit of commotion to happen on the map. Some of that noise gets covered up and you can push in somewhat unnoticed.
And there is Roy, the baby-faced assassin. He looks so locked in and ready for this survival stage. Calling the shots for the troops as they get their first points on the board here. VKG, we mentioned how QQ has already found 1 kill in the lobby. Well, he's doubled it up by the looks of things. He's now got 2 and he's looking to hit the Void Nexus. Can't quite execute. Cassa's sat on that Void Nexus on the other side though. Can they keep the knockdown shields up long enough to get back to the safety of Kassa here for the res?
Gets 1. Oh, doesn't get the second though. So VKG are going to be down to just a 2. JDG now starting to join the action here. And that's a very contested area in the Northeast at the moment. You've got 6 teams that are all eyeing each other up. I'm curious to see whether anyone's going to try and rotate a little bit down to the southern side. I think TIE have been the biggest winners of this zone pool right now, and they find themselves dead center.
Well, VKG have managed to get the reset at least, using the crypto drone to grab the banner and then hit the respawn beacon, but that's going to be a little bit of a lonely landing. Split away from the 2 teammates. Can't see on the screen right now, Chappie dancing inside of the toilet, but it might get a little bit explosive in there. We've all been there before, as VKG look to push up to try and help their teammates stay alive. Kassa has managed to get back in. RRQ been eliminated in the meantime, and now VKG is starting to pinch onto KNC inside of this building. Here's QQ, not quite connecting with the R9, excuse me, it's Kassa. QQ is connecting on the downs, and Wolves Esports will be eliminated.
You can always spot out a mouse and keyboard player with the R9, I feel, as Wolves going down now leaves us with 14. Still a couple more engagements happening on the north. PXX are trying to force their way in at the moment, but they're being held out by DCG. And Zipline Mafia still have a solo that is away from the rest of the team, just looking to try and apply a little bit of extra damage as DCG and Roy trying to clean up the rest of PXX.
Yeah, 1 player still stuck behind that knockdown shield. NForce 36 were eliminated, as well as Kinotrope Club. So 8 teams out of the lobby already. Something to highlight here, by the way, as we look at DCG. TIE, who dropped over at draft point, are still bang center of zone, away from all of this action. They have called zone perfectly. And now with Roy down, it's down to DCG. Xiao Che looking to clutch for his team, but Senetic will peak for FORFUN Esports and get that knock. Shopify Rebellion will go down as well. Lusan now in a 1v1. Jumps into the drone, but I don't think he meant to. There's an armor swap. Has it cost him? No, it hasn't. Ninjas in Pajamas will fall. PXX eliminated as well as FORFUN will finish off the final remaining member of Relove DCG.
Into the drone, bamboozled him a little bit, I think, but FORFUN have been quietly going about their business on the Northwest, but now they're starting to heat up. Of course, they were very close to making it to match point finals yesterday. Sadly, with a poor match 6, they couldn't quite get over that finish line, but they are definitely a team who can thrive in this lobby.
I'll tell you what, this frag grenade might be followed by some very big numbers. Shubi! With the banger, with the frag grenade, get flattened.
5 kills now for floating, and 5 kills that are going to help JDG send themselves up a little bit further in this leaderboard. And I like this position that they currently take as well. You were speaking about TIE holding the middle. Well, JDG might try and contest them.
First real challenge for TIE. With EMPs going off, JDG thinking, is it right to push here? Or do we think about playing for some placement points? They will be safe inside of this zone. threading the needle though. F-Champ finds out that Naughty don't miss too many bullets with that wingman.
Sadly, TIE go down. Couldn't quite fortify that middle spot, which potentially was a game-winning spot, and maybe they give the opportunity to JDG now as we check in with Zipline Mafia, who are being very resilient in this game, but they are being very focused down here in this choke point.
I've decided because we're in Paris, it's no longer the L-Star, it's Le Star. We're going to have to see here if Excusey can use it in the way that he needs to force Zipline Mafia a little bit closer towards this end game. Now they do have the Void Passage on the altar available to get back up to that high ground if they need to, so the low ground can actually be very beneficial to play from if you can avoid the attention of the teams above.
Worth noting as well, JDG, the only team running a Watson alive in this lobby at the moment, and the fact they are controlling the high ground really helps having those fences compared to the gas that you're going to see from the caustics. And yes, there will be cryptos, but are people going to waste those crypto ults?
Well, here's Floated. Oh, needs to hit that. Just about manages to get back to his teammates. He's influencing fights here as Dino, GK, and VK will all be eliminated in the blink of an eye. First win on land as IGL yesterday for Naughty. And you can see what it meant to him. JDG are dominating the lobby right now. 8 kills for this man. A superstar in the making. And now he's living up to that.
Zipline Mafia are going to take that Void Nexus below JD Gaming, so perhaps that will turn attention to FORFUN on their rotation in. It's really going to depend where Zipline Mafia go for how this fight plays out. And there is an option for Zipline Mafia to try and stay as low and quiet as possible. But they don't have the same kind of coverage that FORFUN and JD currently have.
Yeah, difficult for Zipline Mafia here to find a space that's safe. The Void Passage through that staircase will help them, but now you can see how easy these shots should be to hit here for Floated. Zipline Mafia in the open. We've seen one banger nade. Will this be the next? Yes, it will. WeQ down. And Floating is taking this game over. He's already got 8.
Now they have to start thinking about FORFUN though. I know they haven't quite eliminated Zipline, but Floating still has eyes on the prize. Now it's a straight 3v3.
Floating hitting shots already. However, it's Synetic who takes down Naughty. Shumi falls as well. It's all up to Floating. He can't clutch. It's FORFUN Esports